This is exactly why you need to have your hearing aids professionally serviced every 6 to 12 months. Hey guys, Cliff Olson, Doctor of Audiology and founder of Applied Hearing Solutions in Phoenix, Arizona. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what your hearing care professional should be doing behind the scenes to keep your hearing aids sounding like they're brand new, no matter how old they are. Recently, a hearing aid user took to social media to express their discontent about how their hearing aids stopped working only 2 months after their warranty expired. To be honest, I'd be pretty upset too. But it turns out that this individual purchased their hearing aids just over 3 years ago, and they never went back to their hearing care professional who sold them the hearing aids to receive any type of professional care. As a result, their poorly maintained hearing aids decided to stop working, and the cost to repair these hearing aids was not cheap. You see, one thing that I don't think a lot of people realize is just how important it is for your hearing care professional to get their hands on your devices in order to maintain your high level of performance, as well as extend the life of your hearing aids as long as possible. After all, there's a reason why some individuals are able to keep their hearing aids functioning like they're brand new well past the expiration of their warranty, while other individuals seem to be purchasing new hearing aids every couple of years. Now, to be fair, there is no guarantee that if this individual had been going back to his hearing care professional regularly for professional services, that it would have prevented the demise of his hearing aids only 3 years after he purchased them. Especially when you consider that most hearing aid clinics only provide surface level cleaning of your devices when you go in for one of their standard cleaning checks that only takes a few minutes. However, had this individual received high-level, detailed professional care and maintenance over the course of these 3 years, not only would his hearing aids have performed better over the course of this time period, but he likely would have been able to extend the life of his hearing aids without having to send them back to the manufacturer for expensive repairs. That's why in this video, I want to share exactly what your hearing care professional should be doing to make sure that you're hearing your best with your hearing aids, and a trick that we use to ensure that your hearing aids are like brand new right before your warranty expires. But before I show you these tricks of the trade, do me a huge favor and click the like button. It really helps out the channel. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on, go ahead and do that as well. It's greatly appreciated. And let me know down in the comment section how often you take your hearing aids back into your hearing aid clinic for professional care and maintenance. Okay, so a quick little disclaimer here to say that receiving professional care and maintenance is not a substitute for doing at-home cleaning of your hearing aids. You should have received in-person hands-on training by your hearing care professional to show you exactly what to do with your hearing aids when you have them at home when it comes to cleaning them, to make sure that you're doing it properly. Also, my clinic's process of performing professional detailed care and maintenance and our Apply 360 Thrive care plan may be different than how your clinic provides professional care. We typically require our patients to come back into the clinic anywhere between 1 and 3 times per year, depending on their level of need that we've identified in their first year of care. With that said, here's everything that we do in our clinic to make sure that our patients' hearing aids are always performing their best. Step number 1 is to sit down with our patients and ask them if there's any known issues with their hearing aids. This could include audible service warnings from your devices, a bad diagnostic self-check inside of your smartphone app, intermittency issues from one or both hearing aids, Bluetooth-related issues, significant moisture exposure, or just general reduced ability to hear with your hearing aids. This just gives us a heads up on what we're looking for when we're actually going through our process of cleaning and maintaining your hearing aids. Step number 2 is to perform a listening check of your hearing aids. Oftentimes we can hear differences in the volume or sound quality of your left and right hearing aids just by listening to them. However, we have to be careful when performing these listening checks because everybody has different types of hearing losses, and the amount of amplification that they should be getting from their hearing aids is different between everybody. This is where it's helpful to have an experienced clinician who can look at your audiogram and who can look at the programming inside of the manufacturer's software so they know what they're listening for. Step number 3 is to start the detailing process of your hearing aids. Notice how I said detailing and not cleaning. The reason for that will become very apparent here in a minute. Now, if everything sounded relatively good during our listening check, we'll start our step-by-step detailing process of your hearing aids. However, if we identify a potential issue during the listening check of your hearing aids, we have to perform another listening check in between each step of the process. This way we can identify specifically what's causing the issue. We can also take this information and report back to you so we can help help advise you how to do better at-home maintenance to prevent the issue from occurring again. Now, during this step-by-step detailing process, we completely disassemble your hearing aids to reveal any debris inside of them. This includes removing the receiver wires, the tubing, the ear molds, the push buttons in a lot of cases, and sometimes we even remove the entire outer shell of the hearing aid to reveal the internal components of the devices. We will straight up discard any rubber domes, retention filaments, wax traps, and disposable batteries and replace them with brand new ones. This is followed by cleaning the exterior of your hearing aids using a very small cleaning brush. This includes the microphone ports, the battery compartment, the receiver housing where the receiver wire attaches into the hearing aid, and underneath where your push button sets. Once we have all the larger debris brushed off of your hearing aid components, we will go in with microsuction under magnification to suction out all the little tiny bits of debris that is still left behind. And you wouldn't believe the amount of crap that we suction out of hearing aids even though those hearing aids look like they're clean. One thing that we commonly see is earwax inside of the receiver that made its way past the wax trap. We have to suction out that debris before it causes permanent damage to the receiver wires. Following this, we use an alcohol wipe to wipe off any of the components of a hearing aid that is safe to do so. This includes your receiver wires, your ear molds, and your hearing aid battery contacts. Oftentimes, if you have silicone or acrylic behind the ear molds, we'll just take those ear molds and put them into our ultrasonic cleaner so we can completely clean them and disinfect them at the same time. For embedded receiver ear molds, we also have to make sure that we clean out the vents that are in those ear molds with a variety of vent cleaning tools. During this process, we identify any components of the hearing aids that are experiencing excessive wear and tear, and oftentimes we'll replace those components and inform you as the patient. If your hearing aids are in warranty, there is no out-of-pocket cost to replace these components. However, if your hearing aids are out of warranty, there may be an out-of-pocket expense. It is very common for us to identify issues with some of these components, like the receiver wires, that we often have to replace during these professional cleanings, which is also why we keep a healthy stock of these receiver wires in our back office for every single hearing aid manufacturer. We also like to professionally dehydrate your hearing aids with our Redux dehydration system so we can remove and measure the amount of moisture content that has been building up inside of your hearing aids. Sometimes we can even bring dead hearing aids back to life, but more importantly, we can provide you with objective information on how much moisture your hearing aids are building up to see if you actually need to be doing some at-home hearing aid dehydration as well. You'd be surprised at how much moisture can build up inside of your hearing aids just by wearing them every day without jumping in the pool or jumping in the shower. Once we have every component of your hearing aids either cleaned or replaced and completely dehydrated, we're ready to assemble the hearing aids back together again. Step number 4 is to perform another listening check after we've reassembled your hearing aids to see how they sound compared to how they first sounded before the cleaning. Oftentimes, there is a significant improvement in the volume and sound quality of your hearing aids after this professional detailing process. If the hearing aids are sounding good to us, and more importantly, they're sounding good to you, that concludes the cleaning portion of this visit. Then we can move on to fixing any Bluetooth-related issues and make any adjustments that we want to in the manufacturer's software. However, if there are still suspected issues following the cleaning process, we then have to move on to step number 5, which is performing a diagnostic check of your hearing aids inside of a hearing aid test box. I'll be honest, even the best hearing care professionals in the world suck at listening checks. It is literally impossible for us to know if your hearing aids are functioning within manufacturer specifications for output, gain, distortion, and noise levels. Sure, if there's a glaring issue with the way a hearing aid sounds, we'll be able to pick that out almost every time. And yes, I said almost every time. So, if we suspect that the hearing aids are not sounding right, or you feel like the hearing aids are not sounding right even though we just went through our professional detailing process, then we need to run the hearing aids through a diagnostic check. Now, to perform these test box measures, we actually hook your hearing aids up to the manufacturer programming software and put them into a diagnostic test mode. We then put the hearing aids into our test box and we run a calibrated sound through the hearing aid and we measure all the output, gain, distortion, and noise data. We then compare the numbers from this testing to the spec sheets from the manufacturer to make sure that the hearing aids are functioning within their tolerance ranges. If a hearing aid is not meeting manufacturer specifications and we're not able to fix it in office, that hearing aid has to go back back to the manufacturer for repair or replacement. You would also be shocked to know how many hearing aids do not meet manufacturer specifications, but it is not identified by a hearing care professional because they do not run a test box measure on them. I would estimate that less than 5% of hearing care professionals even own a test box, let alone test devices consistently to see if they're malfunctioning. Again, a hearing care professional can think that your hearing aid sounds fine, but you have elevated noise levels or distortion levels, or your gain levels are too low, and they would never know it. And that's unfortunate because those things can totally destroy your hearing aid performance. However, if your hearing aids are meeting manufacturer specifications, it means that your hearing aids are functioning as intended, and if they still don't sound very good to you, that means that we need to move on to step number 6, which is performing another comprehensive hearing evaluation to see if your hearing has changed. Now keep in mind that this could require that you have to come back to the clinic for an additional appointment to perform that testing. Now if an updated hearing test does reveal that you have had a change in your hearing, we need to move on to step number 7, which is reprogramming your hearing aids using real ear measurement to verify that your devices are programmed to match your new hearing loss prescription. Now I should mention that once a year we always perform all of these steps regardless of what a patient reports to us, because patients are notoriously bad at identifying if they're hearing their absolute best and if they've had a change in their hearing. So we just make it mandatory that we go through all of these steps to include diagnostic testing, a new hearing test, and updated programming using real ear measurement. This way there's no question that we can consistently keep you hearing your absolute best. Now like I mentioned before, there are some individuals who need to go through this step-by-step process several times per year to make sure that their hearing aids consistently function well. And there's other individuals who only really need to go through this process one time per year because they are so good at taking care of their own hearing aids and they know how to fix a lot of issues on their own through all the training that they've received from the clinic. However, regardless of the individual, at the end of their warranty period, we always take their hearing aids and send them back to the manufacturer for refurbishment. During this refurbishment process, a hearing aid manufacturer will replace several different components that we cannot replace in the office, which includes your hearing aid microphones, even the processor sometimes, and the lithium-ion batteries. It's kind of like getting a new hearing aid back at your 3-year mark. And don't worry, we always set up our patients with loaner devices over the course of this 10 to 14 day window that the hearing aids are back at the manufacturer, so you don't have any downtime. If you use custom embedded receiver ear molds, I highly recommend that you invest in a backup set of these ear molds just in case we identify any issues with your current ear molds during diagnostic testing, or we identify that one of those ear molds is broken. This way we don't just have to set you up with a temporary receiver and rubber dome that will not sound as good as your regular custom ear mold. Now we prefer to do loaner hearing aids inside of our clinic for our patients so they don't have any downtime, but your clinic might not be a clinic that does that. I do highly recommend that if you're going to be purchasing hearing aids from a clinic, you ask them if your hearing aids have to go back to the manufacturer for repair, if they would have backup devices that you could use in the interim. And there you go. That is everything that goes into professional hearing aid care and maintenance to ensure that your hearing aids are always sounding their best, and so you can extend the life of your hearing aids as long as humanly possible. If the person that I mentioned earlier in this video went through this process regularly with their hearing care professional, I can guarantee that their hearing aids would not have broken 2 months after the expiration of their warranty. Now, if you do not live in the greater Phoenix area with access to my clinic Applied Hearing Solutions, don't worry. You can always find an excellent provider who also performs professional detailed hearing aid cleaning and maintenance on my website, hearingup.com. Hearing Up is my network of vetted hearing care professionals who follow comprehensive audiologic best practices. So if you want to make sure that you receive high-end professional care and that you're always able to hear your absolute best with your hearing aids, then finding a Hearing Up network member in your area is your best bet. But I want to hear from you. Were you aware of all the things that went into performing professional detailed hearing aid care and maintenance, or is this something that's completely new to you? Let me know it down in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video.